Hi, my name is Caitlin Paget, and I am the founder of Redefining Sobriety. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about a recent study that was just released by the Global Burden of Diseases study. It's one of the most comprehensive studies that has now been conducted based on data leading up to 2016 about the effects of alcohol globally on populations around the world. And it was published also in the Lancet Journal. And an interesting conclusion that came out is that there basically is no safe amount of alcohol to drink, that the negative or possible negative health consequences outweigh anything that we might have thought to be a positive health outcome of drinking. So what I'm referring to is that a lot of people have heard the studies saying that a certain amount of red wine is good for your heart, for example. And those of us that love wine would hold on to that study and really, cite it often to justify or to feel okay about our consumption of wine, and while at the same time sort of saying, well, it's good for my heart. But what they found is that it really dramatically can increase your risk of breast cancer, for example, if you're a woman, or other kinds of cancers and other health consequences. So there is a reason why the government guidelines talk about, and also the DSM, which is the Diagnostics Manual for different disorders, medical disorders, and mental health disorders, classifies low-risk drinking in a way that is called low-risk drinking. So low-risk drinking is drinking between, depending on which government guidelines you're following, drinking between 1 and 2 units of alcohol and up to 8 to 10 per week if you're a woman. So that might be having a drink a day, sometimes maxing out at 2, and more than 3 or 4 drinks in a sitting is actually what's called binge drinking, and that goes into the moderate or the elevated risk. And so when we hear low risk, what does that mean? It really actually does mean low risk. There is no such thing as no risk drinking. Any alcohol we consume can potentially have negative health consequences. And, obviously there is health consequences, but, then there's also elevated risk in other areas of our lives, accidents, abuse, things like that can happen when alcohol is thrown into the mix, impaired driving, all of that kind of stuff. So my approach, and I've always been very passionate about this, is to not resort to scare tactics, and to not blame or shame anybody into any decision around their health, and to really honor each and every single person's right to make a decision based on what is best for them. That being said, I think it is really important to know all of the information and to think really critically about how information has been presented to us. And we all know that there have, for example, been in the past, the cigarette lobby was very, very, very powerful. And cigarettes were considered socially acceptable. And, it was cool to smoke. You saw them promoted. You saw billboards, ads all over the place, in movies. And now that we know the extreme health risks associated with cigarette smoking, the cigarette lobby is much less strong, and there actually is you've seen public health and public policy implement different, especially, I'm from Canada, so in Canada, there's different rules now around where you can smoke and when, and not when so much, but a lot of smoke-free places and all of that. And I think our idea around cigarettes has really changed a lot. So it's interesting to think about, where does our information from alcohol come from? How powerful is the alcohol industry, which is a multi-billion, I don't even know how much, dollar industry? And how is that and the advertising that we see really shaping our cultural ideas around alcohol and how much we should be drinking and how much is accessible and how acceptable, and how much is problematic. And I know for myself, as I've redefined my relationship to alcohol, and my tolerance is way lower, and I also know that I can go into situations where I previously would have drank a lot more and enjoy no alcohol or very little alcohol. I'm thinking differently about the information that I've received and also making very different choices around my health. And this isn't about, for me feeling bad about drinking alcohol or having drank more alcohol in the past, but it's also about really looking at my life and my quality of life and how long I want to live and how I want to feel in my body and how I want my brain to function. And, knowing so many people that have cancer, it's I don't like to live in fear, but if there's something that I can do to potentially reduce my risk, why wouldn't I want to do that thing? And that's really been an evolution of my own relationship to alcohol, because before it used to be more like, I don't want the immediate negative consequences. I don't want the blackouts. I don't want to feel like crap. I don't want to be hungover. I don't want to keep doing stupid shit, and then feeling bad about it or feeling like I'm not in alignment. And now I feel like it's a lot more about, well, what kind of quality of life do I want now and for the rest of my life? And so I'm sharing this information just because this is a study that is being circulated now, and there's been a lot of headlines in major newspapers kind of in a way, there's no safe amount of alcohol to be drinking. And I know a lot of different people have kind of picked up, I saw it on Instagram and social media, this sort of, this is why you shouldn't be drinking, from some of the more sobriety focused folks. And I understand that they're very passionate about sharing the information about the risks involved with alcohol. And this comes from my background in harm reduction and the work I did in public health. I also believe that we deserve the right to make decisions based on all of the information and based on what is the best for ourselves. And if we knowingly make a decision knowing that there's a risk involved, but it's something that we're willing to acknowledge and accept because we want to enjoy that glass of wine, with a nice dinner or have a drink or two a week, then it's our choice to do that. But we're doing it in an informed way, and we're doing it knowing the risks involved. And also that we're doing it in a way that helps us feel, whatever your choice is, I want you to feel empowered, and I want you to feel like you're not being judged. So if you choose to have this information and still have alcohol in your life, I do. There's no judgment here or within the redefining sobriety community about doing that. If you want some strategies and you want to know how to start reducing, even by starting, if it feels unmanageable right now based on where you're at, if you're reading this information, you're like, wow, I didn't know that, and I want to reduce my risk. I would like to be low risk or no risk, a no risk drinker, which would mean not to be drinking alcohol, or a low risk drinker, but I don't even know how to go about doing that. Then, reach out, click the link under this video and set up a time to talk, because there's so many strategies. And really, some of my clients have seen huge shifts even just from trying to drink one less day a week or one less drink in a sitting a week. And the most important thing is to just start where you're at and know that you can make small changes, and any small incremental change is going to be beneficial for you and your health over the long term. And so that is my invitation for you. If you read this study, if you've read this information in the past, and you've said to yourself, wow, I'd like to start making some changes, but I don't even know how, or it feels overwhelming, or I'm not going to be somebody who gives up alcohol completely. It doesn't have to be so black and white. You don't have to continue exactly business as usual. You can make some changes and see how that goes for you, and even just try to reduce the amount that you're drinking by a little bit, by a drink in a sitting, one less drink in a sitting, or one less day out of the week that you're drinking alcohol, and you're body and your brain will thank you for it. So again, please reach out if you have any questions about this. I will post the links to the study as well as the links to setting up a call with me and getting more information. Also, if you want a self-study program so that you can start to learn how to shift your relationship to alcohol on your own terms, make sure to check out redefiningsobriety.com, and it's under the Redefining Sobriety tab and the self-study program. But again, I'll put that info beneath this video. And finally, if you want to keep hearing more updates like this, more timely little sound bites based on what's going on in the news, based on your health, based on alcohol, based on redefining sobriety, and also my conversation series called Redefining Everything, where everything is up for discussion, definitely subscribe to this channel and you will receive notifications whenever a video goes live. Have a beautiful day.